Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's figure out what is happening to Tesla, to the market as a whole, and really what we can expect moving into a fresh month starting tomorrow. Of course, don't forget, tomorrow is the first day of August. I personally think August will be a bullish month. We'll see, of course, but yeah, let's just get into it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. That link is down below for just $2.99 a month, $3 essentially. You can access all my intraday thoughts, post updates, technical analysis, options flow, etc. Sometimes other stocks as well. Every single day the market is open, so definitely check that out. Would love to have you there. Link is in the description of the video at the top. It is a YouTube membership, but regardless, jumping into a Tesla closing the day up a beautiful 4.23%, closing at $232 per share, which of course, compared to the market you can argue is actually maybe a slight underperformance. QQQ up a pretty whopping, I didn't even realize it was up 3%, up a whopping 3%. So Tesla should have been up a little bit more, honestly, but we'll say roughly in line with the market. I wouldn't say it's a major underperformance, but could have been a little bit better relative to the Qs, but overall, pretty much following the market. Now, what does this mean moving forward, right? What can we expect from this? So first and foremost, let's go into the daily chart here. You can see on the daily chart, by the way, we'll talk about the monthly as well. Hopefully I don't forget, because the monthly candle did officially close. But the daily chart, you can see here, we pretty much rejected almost to perfection to this bottom trend line, right? At about, 235 almost. Was the high of the day, but we rejected right at it. Now this is still a pretty decent sign. Why? Well, because on the 1 hour you can see, yesterday we did close back into this little congestion zone rather between 225 and 215, right? And I mentioned yesterday how Tesla falling back down into here, it's not necessarily bearish, right? And I said that I'm like, it's not bearish, but it's not bullish. It's kind of neutral now. Like now we just kind of wait again. You wait and you let the levels dictate it for you. We did end up gapping up, and we relatively closely came back down to this general level to retest that 226, 225-ish range. And Meta earnings came out. Meta earnings are beautiful, going up. That's nice to see. That's good for the market. That's kind of what I was hoping for. So that's always a positive sign. But pretty much we're back above this level, which is good. We retested it and we're holding, which is obviously very, very good. Now, obviously there is still a little bit of risk involved here, right? Why? Because, there's still potential little small double top here, right? But ultimately we really, as you can see with the wicks, we really want to breach this level, right? We really, really want to breach this like 233, 234, like that general range, like that needs to be breached. And I think from there, we'll probably make our way back up to about 237/238 roughly, which was this pivot point all the way over here. And I think from there, if we break those levels, those are the main two next hurdles, right? Break above 234-ish, and we most likely see 237, 238. Break above that, however, and I think it's a pretty convincing breakout of this bull flag, and we most likely head even higher, right? And that's kind of the main way I look at it, right? If we break those levels, I think Tesla's breaking out this bull flag, and I really think August should be a pretty phenomenal month overall, before we head into a potentially bearish month, which is September, right? On top of that, of course, on the daily chart, we saw the MACD flip bearish, right? The RSI's neutral-ish, I would say. But the thing I like to see, and this is one of my favorite indicators, I've said it before many times, especially on a daily chart, is this stochastic, right? This SMI, which is essentially, well, now officially flipping bullish, right? Which is always a damn good sign. That's just showing me that momentum is finally coming back into Tesla, and that, we're potentially getting ready to get a nice little rally moving forward. So that's always a good sign. This is something I like to see personally. Obviously, it's not a guaranteed indicator. It doesn't mean it 100% will rally and, everything is good to go from there or anything like that whatsoever, but it's a promising sign nonetheless for sure. So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at that pretty happily. That's always a nice sign, right? And that's kind of the main thing I'm looking at, right? The BX trender, you can see, is finally starting to make lower highs, rather higher lows, which is a good sign to see as well. So things are starting to finally shift, right? But all it, in my opinion, really takes on resistance levels or horizontal resistance levels is, of course, a break above 234, we'll say, which brings us to about 237, 238. Break above that, I think we break out this bull flag, most likely make our way pretty quickly up to about closer to 245 to 250, probably get rejected, most likely come back down to retest this general level. So it can look something like this, assuming we break out, of course, but it can look something like this, right? We ultimately break out, come back up to this general range right here, most likely come back down, retest this range one more time that we're having issues right now breaking past. And then I think from there, we'll probably head up even higher, at the very least, to retest this kind of 265 to 270 range. Obviously, if we break above that, we go even higher, but obviously one step at a time. I don't want to get too euphoric here, because obviously there's a chance that we don't break above this. There's a chance we do just set up a double top around this 265-ish level. That is a possibility. And then we head into September and it's pretty damn bearish. That is always a very real possibility, where instead it just goes like this instead, you know? So that's a possibility, right? So keep that in mind. You want to keep your expectations, in my opinion, relatively in check. And that's what I try to, you know, hopefully teach on this channel. You know, where a lot of people are very bearish or a lot of people are very bullish, I try to be as non-emotional as possible, and I just kind of say it how it is, regardless of my position, though my positions obviously usually reflect my thought process and what I'm saying naturally. But that's kind of the main way I'm looking at Tesla right now, right? It's looking pretty damn solid, right? The 1 hour kind of gives you a better idea of this, you know, little bull flag, not really little, pretty decently sized bull flag that we are in. Also, again, a break above this will be a pretty phenomenal move, and I think we'll go up even higher. Now, I do want to make it very clear though, right? Aftermarket looking pretty good. Meta reported earnings. That's great. Tomorrow we have, I think tomorrow is Apple and Amazon. So that's a pretty big one, of course, right? So we'll see how those affect the markets. Hopefully, if you know, if they don't mess up the potential euphoria we have getting ready in this market after a pretty damn decent, honestly, JPOW that we just had with FOMC. Honestly, I think we're setting up, you know, for something looking, you know, potentially pretty promising, and I do like to see that quite a bit. NVIDIA actually breaking above 118, did not expect that. That's a good sign as well for NVIDIA. But yeah, so that's kind of the way I'm looking at it moving forward, right? As long as they don't mess things up, I think, you know, things are looking pretty good. But with that being said, as long as we maintain below, at least below this 234-ish range, there is still a possibility we do come back down to retest this kind of, you know, 226, 225 level. So that's kind of the range we're in now, right? That's pretty much how you want to look at it, right? Again, draw this little range right here like this, you know, and we're pretty much in one of the two ranges. Either, you know, we're in this range down here, which we were earlier, and then we gap back above, right? Which we just pretty much zigzag until one of these levels gives. We broke above, this level gave, great. Now we're in the next range, right? Until, again, one of these levels gives. If this level at the bottom gives and we go back down, well, now we're pretty much doing what this was. Okay, well, let's go sideways. Let's see. Maybe this gives again, or maybe it gives to the downside. Well, let's see, right? You just kind of play it like that. And again, obviously, if this level gives, we most likely head up to this level. I personally think we'll break it, and then we move up even higher. So again, that's just the simplest way of looking at it, right? Without overcomplicating things too much. In terms of options flow, again, I'm not really using options flow too much recently, right? Personally, at least. Again, I use it as a supplementary in the sense that I personally only look at it to find massive orders, right? I want to see some really like big D orders, right? Otherwise, you know, all this to me is just noise, right? The more I'm looking at this, the more it's noise. Obviously, I know, like I said many times before, some people do actually trade strictly off options, right? But I guess I'm just not good enough. I don't know. I look at it as strictly a supplementary thing, right? If something looks bullish and I see really powerful flow, great. But it's not my deciding factor. But nonetheless, Tesla did have some decent flow, I guess. 2.5 million, 235 strike calls, but it's like 2026 December. So pretty far out, of course, right? Most of the flow I do see on Tesla that is major, like, you know, 1.7 million, 2.5 million here. They have 1.6 million here. They're all like at least 1 year out, if not 2 years out. So that's why it's like, you know, I said this before and I'll say it again. The whales seem bullish on Tesla long term. And I think, you know, for the most part, I mean, I'm very bullish Tesla long term. That's not really the question here. The question is, well, what do we do for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, even maybe in the next couple of weeks, right? That's the question, in my opinion. I think long-term, the trajectory is up. Short to medium term, well, that's where the question starts to kind of, you know, get a little more interesting. So that's kind of how I look at it. Options being sold. I mean, the only ones worth noting here, as you can see here, a 200 strike sell, 1.6 million, 1.6 million, equating to just about 3.2 million, of course. January 16th, 2026, a little bit of an eyebrow raiser, of course. Again, you don't know the full story behind this. This could have been a close technically as well. You never know for sure. But ultimately, the easiest way of looking at it, in my opinion, is just simply looking at it through the levels I just mentioned. Let these levels dictate it for you, as I always say, and as it always has been playing out as such. And then I think, you know, you go on to the next level, you go on to the next level, you go on to the next level, and so on and so forth. But yeah, with all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. We'll see how the market reacts and really digest all this Fed news tomorrow. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move. Technically, the first move has been up. So there is still some risk that we do come back down to about 225, 226 tomorrow, potentially as well, as the market digests this Fed news. So tomorrow is also really important to see how the market reacts to it. So all that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.